Welcome back. We're finally doing another one of these obscure furry media videos. And today we're going to be talking about a weird thing. Today we're talking about animal trash. And I'm not just talking about the furry fandom in general. We are talking about a live puppet show featuring handcrafted puppets. The show stars Ryan Cronin, Casey Grimm, and Adam McGlaughlin. It doesn't help that my handwriting is not good. I had to do a little bit of work to try and find any information about this thing at all, and there's really not much. It kind of seems like it was something that just sort of existed for a while and then faded out. There's a possibility that they might still be doing live shows, but we're not really talking about the live show aspect. We're going to be talking about their dive into public access television, or more specifically, their dive into YouTube, and I'm pretty sure most of their YouTube content is the public access show just sort of posted there. I don't know how long they were on public access, or when they even did it. Like, some of the years on these things are very vague. The only year I have specifically down pat is 2008, December 18th to be specific. That is when their YouTube channel launched. And it's there that I guess you can watch pretty much all the content that, as far as I know, exists. The tone of the show is very much on par with maybe like something you would see like on Adult Swim, especially back, like early 2000 or 2000s in general. Just that weird Adult Swim humor where you kind of get the feeling that the target audience is probably people that are super baked at the moment. The humor tends to be a bit on the shocking, vulgar, sometimes offensive side. But it is actually pretty darn funny. I can imagine if Adult Swim had maybe caught wind to this, they could have picked it up and turned it into something pretty beautiful. But I mean, the trashy quality of the low budgetness is also kind of beautiful in its own regards. I'm not really sure what else to say about this weird show. I guess I can just sort of dive into some specific episodes. The first episode has basically this character Waldo doing some sort of a children's show, Waldo's World. I guess that's like the main setting of the show, is these characters work at some sort of a TV station. But anyway, this one character, Waldo, is doing a show called Waldo's World, where he is trying to sing about the alphabet. And it's, one of the other characters, a frog, ends up walking over and just starts making fun of him because of how ugly he is. And then the other guy's like, hey, I'm trying to do a kid show, it's not appropriate. So he's like, okay, I'll leave. Then he leaves, but then he brings back some of his friends and they all just start making fun of him, like, see, I told you this guy's ugly, isn't he? This is extra funny because I've actually seen this happen in like real life. Just like usually very immature teenage boys will just not be able to take a hint about how inappropriate they're being. They'll like leave, get their friends and say, see, I told you this guy sucks. Do you see how much he sucks? Look at this guy sucking. It's like they're just so oblivious at how obnoxious they are. And this show just really captured that right there. But then it gets weirder because the frog's like, okay, I'll try to help you. And he readjusts the Waldo character's eyeballs, whatever, he's a puppet, I guess, so he just takes his eye off and readjusts it, and then he looks kind of fine. And then the eye falls off and he starts panicking. They're like, we gotta do something, and then one of the characters just randomly pulls out a gun and shoots him. And you actually do see like brains come out the back of his head, and the way that this show depicts blood is always with like strands of red yarn, and it's pretty much funny 100% of the time. And then there's just this whole thing about they have to dispose of the body, and then future episodes deal with bringing in a voodoo witch doctor to resurrect him because they don't want to get in trouble at work and get fired. That's the only reason they're trying to do this. We also have another episode called Workman's Comp, where basically one of the characters, he gets hurt on set because he's like trying to do a show where he's making a margarita and he drops his cigarette in the blender and he just goes to pick it up and chops his arm off. Anyway, he's in the hospital, he's got Workman's Comp, and one of his friends is like, I want Workman's Comp as well, this looks like the funnest thing ever. You just get to lay around in a hospital, get all hopped up on drugs. So him and another character are trying to purposely get hurt so they can get Workman's Comp. They just try a series of like stupid things, like they're running around with scissors and nothing happens there. Then they get an idea like, oh, let's just pretend that we're war vets. And one of them's just like a veterinarian, like a doctor. It is just that kind of humor where it's just like, how stupid can this get? Logic and reasoning has nothing to do with what happens. Like, just for example, they end up going to a place for war vets, and there's some Vietnam vets eating at a table, and they tell a story about how one of them died, but then the one that died in the story is sitting at the table, and he's like, okay, but I thought you died, and he's just like, I got better. I could go on all day explaining just how completely stupid and ridiculous some of these episodes are. I decided to kind of highlight a few kind of like little mini skits and things that they've done. They have this like one recurring skit where it's like a news reporter on Fox News, and the reporter is a fox. Do you get it? But anyway, one of those bits, it's like a whole thing talking about the swine flu, which I guess at the time that they shot this was, I guess, relevant. But if you watch it today, it seems very like weird, almost spooky, because you compare it to the current situation. They had a parody of a Mac versus PC commercial, which I was like, I forgot about those.
I'm a Mac.
Just one character says like, "Hi, I'm a Mac," and then the other one is supposed to say, "I'm a PC," but he screws up the line in every way imaginable.
I'm a Mac. He the Mac.
There's Frog the Bounty Hunter, which is a parody of Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Can I help you, or...?
Jesus loves you, brah.
What?
I feel like I highlighted some of these just because it feels like it tells you about the era that it was made, you know, because is Dog the Bounty Hunter still relevant? All of this stuff can be found on the Animal Trash YouTube channel if you want to go watch it. And if you appreciate that kind of like, I guess, just like Aqua Teen Hunger Force level of comedy, then I would highly recommend you do so. Sadly, they haven't posted anything in a long time, not since 2012. That was the last time they posted any videos, and it was just some footage of a live show they were doing where they're essentially doing a parody of a Twilight Zone episode. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched the first part of it, and it looks like it's a parody of the Talking Tina episode. I may go back and finish it, but it didn't really seem to have much to do with like the main characters that you see in Animal Trash. I mean, the main recurring ones, there's a frog, saber-toothed tiger, I think there's one that's like a lion that's in the NRA. It does always seem unfortunate when there's something as kind of clever and funny as this that just kind of like hung around for a little bit and then it just like goes dead for a while. There's a possibility that they're still doing the live shows. I don't really know because again, I cannot find a lot of information on these guys. But it would be nice to see some sort of a comeback at some point, even if it's just for like, you know, maybe a few videos. Alright, so that's all I gotta say for that. Thanks for watching. See you next week, I hope.